up a new month. It is a month of July, 3rd of July 2023. A very great morning to you. Thank you very much for joining us this morning. My name is Denis Oringi, and I'm here to give you a breath of every information that you need to know. It's KOKOLIRIKO Live on Westnile Television. We thank you very much for joining us. A weekend was full of activity, and you have to know that the late Justice Stella Arash Amoko was laid to rest over the weekend on Saturday. And so the third Deputy Prime Minister of the Republic of Uganda was in attendance representing the President of the Republic of Uganda since Justice Stella Arash Amoko was accorded a state burial right there. Different dignitaries from all walks of life were able to tranche, that is maybe a municipality, for the burial of that is late Justice Stella Arash Amoko, and may her soul rest in eternal peace. Finally, she has been laid to rest, and all have come to pass, and so we have to now go back to our drawing boards and continue with life. And so that is life, and we cannot run away from such in life. And so we have to be prepared at any time. You can be a candidate of death. And so how are you? Have you prepared yourself to welcome death at any time if it knocks on your door? And so she has walked a journey and she has completed a race. It is us who are still alive who do still have the races that we are supposed to run and also walk in. So let's do what is right at this particular time as we wait for our time also to really go. Much as there were a number of controversies that really came up after her death, and so we let those pass and we continue with the new journey. To the family members, let's be strong. I know God has really taken the one that he used to really provide us with guidance and also stand by our side. And so it's quite unfortunate that she is no longer there with us. And so we continue with life. And let's go back to the drawing board and continue with life as well. And so, dear viewer, you have to know that the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Dr. Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, he is here in Westnile. So he arrived in Westnile last week over the week on Friday when he was welcomed at Pakwash Bridge, and later on he proceeded to that is the St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, that is Goli, the headquarters of Nebi Diocese, where they had dinner with different religious right there at St. Stephen's Church of Uganda, Goli Cathedral. And so on Saturday he had his maiden appearance at that is Okoro Archdeaconry, that is in War Zombo district. And so it was a massive one from that side of Okoro Archdeaconry, and we do appreciate and thank very much those who turned up to really listen to the good messages that were passed out by the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda. And for those who were able to follow Westnile Television last evening at around 8 p.m. to 9, you were able to have the recap of his visit when he had his confirmation visit at Okoro Archdeaconry, that is in Nebi Diocese, Zombo district, where he was able to urge the Christians to send their children to school so that their children can become good people in future. And also he urges people to really commit themselves to love. And he says that the love that Jesus Christ has for us is beyond any other love that we experience right here on this earth. Your wife can tell you that he loves you. Your husband can tell you that he loves you, but at the end of it all, the love that Jesus Christ has for us is more than any other love. And so that was a very strong message from the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, His Grace Dr. Stephen Kazimba Mugalu, right there. And so yesterday, Sunday, he was able to proceed to that is Jonam Archdeaconry, where he was at Pagwaya Church of Uganda, the headquarters for Jonam Archdeaconry. And so people also turned up in big number to really celebrate the service together with the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda. It is a very nice moment having your time with a person of that caliber and receiving blessing from him. And I believe that the people who happened to really take part in the services that is celebrated at Okoro Archdeaconry and also Junam Archdeaconry, they have received the blessing. And let the blessing that you have received from the Archbishop be able to transform your life and give you another hope in life, and also another, strength for you to continue living and have a reason for you to live. And so today, the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda, Dr. Kazimba Mugalu, will be in Padire Archdeaconry, where he will be able to celebrate the service together with the Christians who are in Padire Archdeaconry, and he will be at Agwok Church of Uganda, just at the roadside, at the main road, when you're traveling either to Kampala or you're coming this side of Nebi. And so that is where the Archbishop is going to be. And allow me also in a special way to thank the Bishop of the Church of Uganda, Nebi Diocese, that is none other than Right Reverend Pons Ozale Awinju, for the invitation that he extended to the Archbishop of the Church of Uganda. And I have to tell you that since he was consecrated, the Archbishop, this could be his second time to come to Nebi Diocese. I can remember last year when they were consecrating the bishop of that is Nebi Diocese. He was the one who came and consecrated the bishop and installed the bishop. That is Reverend Right Reverend Pons Awinju Ozele, right there for you. And so in Okoro Archdeaconry, it was his maiden appearance, his maiden invitation that he made it to Okoro Archdeaconry, and that kind of gesture is a very good gesture where the Archbishop travels after the local persons where they are. And so Okoro Archdeaconry is one of the more remote archdeaconries that we do have in Uganda, and sometimes little attention is paid to, more especially from the leadership from the province of the Church of Uganda, Kampala. And so we wish the Archbishop well in his pastoral visits that he's really having right here in West Nile. And so if he concludes his pastoral visit in that is Nebi Diocese, he will be able to proceed to Madi West Nile Diocese here in Arua, and also parts of this particular region. And so he will be welcomed at the border between Nebi Diocese and Madi and West Nile Diocese, and that will be at around Omir. And so the Anglican faithfuls who are in Madi, Okolo, the area of Anyiribu, Madi, Okolo, you have to ride to go and welcome the Archbishop at the border of that is Madi West Nile Diocese and Nebi Diocese. That will be at Omir. And so if he concludes today or tomorrow, and then he will be able to proceed this particular side. And so I believe that tomorrow he will be able to have meetings with religious of Nebi Diocese, and then later on he will be able to proceed to Madi West Nile Diocese. And I've been told that the Christians of Madi and West Nile Diocese, they are ready, prepared, waiting for the Archbishop. But the preparations are underway at Emmanuel Cathedral, where the Archbishop will be able to really, spend his time, as he will be, moving to different places that we do have here in Madi and West Nile Diocese, more especially the places that have been put in the program for the coming of the Archbishop. That's a very nice one right there for you. And so, dear viewer, that is a brief that I wanted to bring to your attention this morning. And so you should not be surprised of what is happening. Also, right, dear viewer, you have to know that we are in another financial year, starting 1st of July, and today is 3rd of July 2023. We are already in the another financial year of the year 2023-2024. So we got done with the financial year 2022-2023 on 30th of June 2023. And so we are in another year of government. That is what you need to know. The year of government is different from the Gregorian calendar that we do follow. And so the financial year is a little bit very different. So government does not start its year on maybe 1st of January. Government starts its year on 1st of July. And so we already, this is the 3rd day into the new financial year 2023-2024. And so we have to now evaluate how the financial year 2022-2023 was able to go down. And so you have to know that last year there was a budget that was read and also passed, and so we need to find out whether the government of the Republic of Uganda was able to use the budget that was appropriated last year properly. And remember, the budget for the financial year 2023-2024 is the 52.7 trillion, and this money will be used to really provide services to the people that are here in our country, Uganda, Uganda. And do not forget that a good percentage of this budget, 52.7 trillion, will be used for paying the debt that the country was able to borrow, both domestically and also externally. And so the 52.7 trillion money is with us, and so the government through Uganda Revenue Authority will be able to mobilize these resources to finance the programmed issues that are going to be dealt with in the financial year 2023-2024. And so that is what you need to know. And so this particular month of July, and I know that there are some people who have not received their salary, more especially civil servants. You have to wait a bit, because when a financial year comes to a close, there are a number of issues. This is what we call balancing of the financial book, and to see that everything is in order. And so if salary is delaying, you have to be a bit patient, because government is still working on the balance sheet to see that they close the financial year 2022-2023 properly as they start a new financial year. And so this will really affect different services, more especially government services that are supposed to be provided, because it will not be possible for the government to release the money as soon as possible. And so the first release of the first quarter of the release of the financial year 2023-2024 might be around November, according to what I know in regards to financial expenditure in our country, Uganda. And so we need to now cut our quota according to our sizes. And so if you're a local government and you want to behave in an extravagant manner, you have to know that this time it will be a little bit different issue right there. All right, let's get to some of the stories that are making headlines in the dailies right this morning. 22 minutes past the hour of 8 a.m. right here on Westnile Television. Do not forget, at exactly 9 a.m. I will be getting out of the studio. What you need to know is that the Minister of Energy and Minerals Development, Dr. Ruth Nankabirwa, was able to visit, that is Nyagak 3, over the weekend on Saturday, to ascertain the progress of work at Nyagak 3. And you have to know that government, in consortium with other companies, they want to really generate 6.6 megawatts at Nyagak 3. This is to supplement 3.5 megawatts being generated by Nyagak 1 that is currently supplying the people of West Nile with the power. And so if Nyagak 3 generates a 6.6 megawatts plus 3.5 megawatts that will be generated, that is being generated from Nyagak 1, that in total will be around 10 point something megawatts. And so when you have 3, that's 9 points, that is 1, and so around 10.1 megawatts will be generated from Nyagak power stations that Nyagak 3 is still under construction. And you have to know that the power from Nyagak will supplement the power from Karuma that the West Nilers are calling national grid right there for you. And so the region is waiting eagerly to be connected to the national grid. But according to my personal assessment, I have been in Greater Lure sub-region. I have seen the progress of work at the substations, that is at Nebi in Tata Division, and this one of Arua at Muni. The progress seems to be moving on well, much as the connection of the pylons with the wires that are recommended seems to have stalled. We believe that something needs to be done. And so particularly on the Nyagak 3, you have to know that government pushes the completion of Nyagak 3 Dam for third time. So this is the third time that the government is committing to really completing Nyagak 3 power station, 6.6 megawatts right there. And so last year and the year before, the Minister for Energy and Minerals Development has been visiting Nyagak 3. And so this thought the first time that the Minister for Energy and Minerals Development, Ruth Nankabirwa, visiting Nyagak 3 construction power site that is under construction right there. And so locals say they have waited for too long for the Nyagak 3 dam and connection to the national grid from Olweyo station. And we have to know that last week, Ministry of Energy and Minerals Development was able to sign a memorandum of understanding with the government of South Sudan to see how 308 kilometer power line be extended to South Sudan and also boost the economic viable centers that we have at the border of Animule and also other border towns that we do have in between Uganda and South Sudan. And so the 308-kilometer power line that will be extended to South Sudan will really generate a lot of revenue for our country, Uganda. That means that government of the Republic of Uganda will be able to sell power to South Sudan, and this power is the one that is being generated from Karuma Power Dam. And you have to know that the construction of Power Dam at Karuma was out of the loan money that government of the Republic of Uganda was able to borrow to finance the construction of the power dam right there. And so the power that will be extended from Uganda to South Sudan will be picked from Oluyu, and the West Nile is also waiting to tap from Oluyu, and we have 2 substations that we have in the region. And so these 2 substations, if government of the Republic of Uganda wants to extend power to the eastern town of the Democratic Republic of Congo, that will be possible. If government of the Republic of Uganda has signed already memorandum of understanding to extend power to South Sudan, it is also possible for government of the Republic of Uganda to sell power to the eastern towns that we do have in the Democratic Republic of Congo right there. And so the Ministry of Energy and Minerals Development has for the 3rd time pushed the completion of a power dam project in West Nile sub-region to September. And so we believe that by September this year, remember we are already in the month of July and we have the month of August ahead of us, and then by September we are hopeful, as it has been said by Ministry of Energy and Minerals Development, that the region will be connected to the national grid right there. So the sub-region currently supplied by a 3.5 megawatts dam in Nagak was expected to get an additional 6.6 megawatts to get an additional 6.6 megawatts on completion of Nyagak 3 Dam construction. But at the weekend, the Minister of Energy and Minerals Development, Ruth Nankabira, said the dam will be completed in the next 2 months, is what you need to know. And so we believe that in the next 2 months, the dam will be completed. She, however, said that this will only be achieved if the government releases, that is 28 billion Ugandan shillings to the contractor. At the end of last year, you have to know that the Minister for Energy and Minerals Development says that government requires around needs to look for 22 billion to really contribute towards the completion of Nyagak 3. And you have to know that the construction of Nyagak 3 is under what we call consortium. It is not only the government of the Republic of Uganda that is contributing towards establishing Nyagak 3. There are also other companies that have also put in money to see that Nyagak 3 is completed. So that at the end of it, since it's going to be a loan, and these are companies that have put their money to complete Nyagak 3 construction, they will also be able to get their money. And so you have to know that there's nothing for free here in our country, Uganda. And so as companies continue to also give in, the government of the Republic of Uganda is also expected to also to give in some money so that to see this is done. Quoting from Ruth Nankabirwa, when he visited Nyagak 3, this is her statement. I mean, she says, "I am impressed by the progress of the work, despite the fact that as a government, we have not been able to fulfill our part of the grant that we are supposed to release." And so government was supposed to release some money, that's around 28 billion to supplement the money that is being put in by other companies that have really come as a consortium to really construct Nyagak 3 right there. So the developer has continued to find ways of borrowing money and making sure that work does not stall is what you need to know. So that, who is supposed to be blamed for the delay of the construction of Nyagak 3? I think this time I can say, I am bold to say that government of the Republic of Uganda seems to delay the completion of Nyagak 3, because the minister has even confirmed it by herself, saying that government has not yet given in money, around 28 billion that is required from the government of the Republic of Uganda towards the completion of Nyagak 3 right there. And so she added, "I pledge that I will continue interacting with the Ministry of Finance to make sure that what the president promised when touring West Nile region to release the remaining money, which is about 28 billion, is released." And so you have to know that President of the Republic of Uganda was able to come to West Nile. He was here for 3 days visit, and he was able to make commitment and pledge to the people of West Nile that the remaining money that the government of the Republic of Uganda is supposed to release for the completion of the construction of the Nyagak 3 power station will be released. And so you have had, this is not the first time that we have heard from the Minister of Energy and Minerals Development saying that she will be able to commit government to ensuring that the 28 1.8 billion is released. And so we are waiting whether by September this year, the connection of Westnile to the national grid will be achieved. And this also reminds me of a pressure group that, that was formed in the name of When Rico Must Go. I do not know what has really happened. Could I say that the pressure group was putting pressure on the wrong person or wrong people to see that the region is connected to the national grid? But we cannot really, water down their contributions towards putting pressure on government to see that work is done in regards to connecting the region to the national grid. And we continue to implore government of the Republic of Uganda to really put connecting Westnile to the national grid as a priority as government works on the 380-kilometer power line to South Sudan. And this should really go concurrently as government works on the 380-kilometer power line to South Sudan. Let the one that is supposed to connect Westnile to the national grid is also worked upon. So there are pylons that have been set up, but they are not connected to the wires that are required to bring power to Nebi substation and also Arua substation. So last year, the contractor Dot Services asked the government to provide that is 22 billion to facilitate the completion of the project. Nankabira has already urged the residents to be patient, saying the government and the contractor are working round the clock to increase power connection in the sub-region. But the Padire County Member of Parliament, Isaac Otemgiu, decried delays in completing the project, and that is what the Member of Parliament for Padire County said over the weekend when he was among the team that toured Nyagak 3 power station right there. So he said, we are actually disappointed with the progress with which the electricity connection in the region is being done. We have had 3 deadlines. The issue of the minister coming here without MPs actually shows the disconnection. We are not happy, and we had a lot of the questions that to put to her. And so it seems that the minister's coming was a kind of, not well coordinated, and it seems the members of parliament were not even informed. And this is not the first time. I can remember in 2021, I think it was in December, 22nd of December 2021, when the Minister for Energy and Minerals Development visited Nyagak 3, and I was part of the team that visited Nyagak 3, and it was my first time also to visit Nyagak 3. The minister also came along, by the way, and members of parliament from the region were a little bit surprised that, the Minister for Energy and Minerals Development was in the region touring the construction of Nyagak 3 power station. And so this time around, it is not different that the members of parliament from Western sub-region are also saying that the coming of the minister was not well coordinated, and that's why the members of parliament seems to be aghast about her coming to the region. And so that is something that you need to know right there. And so Vijar Kumar Reddy, the resident engineer at the power dam site, said critical works at the plant have been done, and that 94% of the works have been completed. And so quoting him, saying that we have completed construction of the dam and surge works, and so that is ongoing is hydro and electrical mechanics, and we hope we are provided with the funds to complete the works. Nyagak 3 will have an installed capacity of 6.6 megawatts is what you need to know. But locals say that they have waited for too long for the Nyagak 3 dam and connection to the national grid from Olio substation right there. And so Nankabira also urged the residents to be patient, saying the government and the contractor are working around the clock to increase power connection in the sub-region. And so that is what you need to know. Right there. President Museveni, during President Museveni's 4-day tour in Westnile early this year, angry locals bored Minister Nankabira as she updated locals about the progress of the power dam project. The locals say they were fed up of empty promises by the Energy Ministry right there for you. And so this is one of the big stories here in Westnile about the visit of that is the Minister for Energy and Minerals Development, Ruth Nankabira, right there for you. Government develops a simplified succession law guide is what you need to know right there. And so the Uganda Law Reform Commission has developed a simplified guide to create awareness about the Succession Amendment Act of 2022. The user guide to succession laws in Uganda will enable Ugandans fully engage in the implementation of the law according to that is Uganda Law Reform Commission. And so while launching the user guide in Kampala last Friday, Justice Minister that is Norbert Mao said many Ugandans are battling succession disputes due to the lack of the relevant information on how succession is executed, as well as reluctance to write wills, among others. And so, quoting him, saying, many people are not aware of the repercussions and the weight of the laws if this succession matter is not well handled. If there is no will, chances are high that the family will not have a standard, will not have a shared future. Succession is not only about distribution of property. The will left behind helps relatives to have curative solutions to ensuring that intergenerational wealth and legacy of the deceased right there. And so the minister further commended Uganda Law Reform Commission for developing the user guide that will enable the locals to resolve succession disputes through the law. And so the Succession Amendment Act of 2022 is one of the impactful laws, and I want to thank the Law Reform Commission for breaking it in a more understandable way. I am very sure that the Administrator General's role is now simplified. And so Charles Sakasibayo, the Administrator General, said the user guide is a milestone in ending succession disputes originating from ignorance of the laws. And so in this act, a will is one of the weapons to ease the management of estates. And so let us use the guide to write our wills so that we define our wishes in a written document. This is according to Kasibayo. He added that in the will, define where you want to be buried, who must share on your property, and by what percentage, and also explain the relationship with the people in the will. So if we make use of this user guide, we shall not have more challenges related to succession matters. And so Pamela Kaliegira, the chairperson of Uganda Law Reform Commission, said the guide was prepared with support from the governance and security program is what you need to know. And so will this guide be simplified in local languages that we have in our country, Uganda? That is also another point of discussion, because this issue of will should not only be for the educated one. What about the person who has not gone to school, but he has a property and he's going to die? And how should his property and his will be really, accorded respect? And do they understand what will means? Okay, that I leave it to the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs, who also hails from the north, and he understands the local issues that we do have in our society. And I believe that the user guide will be translated also in local languages. If we can really have these laws loosely translated for the people to understand, that will be my point. And I will be a very, very, very much appreciative, because they always say ignorance of the law has no defense. And so what about for those who do not know the laws that we have in this country? They have never read even a paragraph, not even a word from the law book, and they don't understand if they are too gamble in reading. And so how can we make it simple for them to understand that there are laws in this country, and these laws need to be followed by each and every person, regardless of your education level and also your financial strength. And so what should we do? And so I believe that Minister Norbert Mao will be able to look into this matter of translating these law books that we have in Uganda. Army probe criteria used in choosing Kimaka trainees is what has really come out here. That Army is to probe the criteria used in choosing Kimaka trainees is what you need to know. Ministry of Defense and Uganda People's Defense Forces have promised to investigate the criteria used for selecting senior Army officers sent for diploma, degree, and master courses in military-related fields at the Senior Command and Staff College, Kimaka in Jinja City. And so Vincent Center, the Minister of Defense, said the investigation comes after a senior Army officer who was not meant for training at college failed to graduate last Thursday. A total of 47 senior Army officers of the 2022-2023 intake graduated in a colorful ceremony at the college. And so we are going to investigate how he came here, because these are some of the issues the Commander-in-Chief was complaining about following what took place in Somalia, is what you need to know. And so last month, you have to know that several Ugandan soldiers were killed in Al-Shabaab attack on a base of peacekeepers who are serving under the African Union Transmission Mission in Somalia, ATMIS. It is alleged that the officer, whose identity, rank, and department were not disclosed, failed all the course units which were being taught by instructors and lecturers from Uganda Management Institute, Makerere, and Shambogo universities. Simply just said his ministry is going to tighten the systems by ensuring that the people who are chosen to go to Somalia are competent to avoid a shaming the UPDF. He added all loopholes are going to be investigated, and whoever has selected that officer will be handled accordingly, including being prosecuted unpunished. The minister said he will hold talks with the president regarding the need to expand the college to accommodate at least 100 students, up from the current intake of less than 50 students. And so Lieutenant General Peter Eluelo, the Deputy Chief of Defense Forces, said it was disappointing for a senior Army officer to spend 47 weeks and leave the college without a certificate. This is a lack of seriousness. Because once for this course, the least we expect is death. If you did not pass, we are going to investigate how you ended up here. It is a serious matter, and I want to be on record, and that is the voice. And that's the voice of Lieutenant General Peter Eluelo. And all of you know how he sounds when he's speaking to the people, more especially on a serious matter. I can remember vividly hosting him on one of the radio stations here in West Nile, and he assured the youth here, and that was before the lockdown that was pronounced by the President of the Republic of Uganda. And he told me, Dennis, wait, in 2 weeks, you will not see people moving up and down in this city. And he says that the university has got too many young people who are doing nothing, and these young people should go back to their villages so that they can really carry on with agricultural activities. And this was after the attacks, or the army detaches that we do have in Zombo. That was when, Lieutenant General Peter Eluelo was able to come to West Nile, and he was hosted on one of the radio stations, and I'm happy that I hosted him. And he was able to tell people what would really happen after 2 weeks. And indeed, it happened after 2 weeks. And he was telling people, wait, these young people that you see here in this town, they're doing nothing. They will go back to their villages so that they can concentrate on agriculture. Little did we know that the President of the Republic of Uganda was ready to lock down the country, and we experienced what happened. And so those who never experienced that, maybe you were not yet born by that time. If you were born in 2020 during the COVID-19 lockdown, you know what exactly people experience. And so for me, I saw that coming when I heard from Lieutenant General Peter Eluelo in regards to issues to do with the curfew. And it was my first time hear the word curfew. And this time around, when you talk about curfew, even a child who was still in the womb by that time, was still a fetus, will be able to understand, because the child knows very well how the mother suffered for her during the time of lockdown. It was a real curfew. And in military, curfew means a different thing. And when army pronounces curfew, you have to know that all of you have to be inside your houses, because they are now going to meet with the rebels. And COVID-19 was the rebel by that time. And it was a real curfew. By 6, you will hear them blowing whistle. And you cannot continue walking in the streets. You see how people can really run. Ugandans can easily forget. I didn't know that we would really come out of that kind of treatment that we received by that time. We were chased inside our houses like goats and chicken. And so they got a certain Muslim who was busy waiting for food, and the wife was in the kitchen, and this man was at his home here in Mara. And so my man in uniform just came and found this Muslim was listening to the radio. They used to chase this Muslim. The Muslim could not know where exactly his radio was, yet the radio was on. So he ended up inside his room. We have come from far. Ugandans, curfew meant curfew by that time. And we pray that such scenario should not really repeat itself, and we should not go back to such. You just come and peep the road like this, and when you see this man coming, the LDUs, you just go back inside the house like turtles that brings out the head and goes back inside its shell. So that was the moment that we experienced. So we have to be a little bit very serious, and the army is saying that we need to be very serious when it comes to selecting people to go for trading. We should not just pick this person because this person has money and he also wants to appear among the army officers who are supposed to be trained. And so let the right people go for the trading. I still also add my voice to the voices of these army officers, including the Minister for that is Defense, Vincent Sempiger, right there. Let the right people go for the trading. And so that is what you need to do. We had on several occasions in the past year, They can just pick you because maybe you have something that you can really give to the person in charge of the names. You know, I have this experience with the army because I stayed with them and I have also been with them. I cannot forget the time that people were being passed out, and some people were saying that why not me also to go back home because I'm not well. I'm now tired, you know, I need to go and rest some, and so some people, their names missed out right there for you. And so electricity regulation to recover more than $2 billion from power firm is what you need to know, that the Electricity Regulatory Authority is moving on to see how they can really recover $2 billion from the power firms that we have here in our country, Uganda. The Electricity Regulatory Authority said it is seeking to assess all electricity distribution assets of Padea Beam Multipurpose Electric Cooperative Society Limited to recover more than 2 billion Ugandan shillings right there. Before Mex owned the Uganda Electricity Transmission Company Limited more than 2.5 billion. The power company has not paid its annual license fees to either for at the least 4 years is what you need to know right there for you. And also what you need to know here is that DPP determined fate of Molago boss says officials, and Justice Amoko finally laid to rest in Nebi is also one of the stories that have not missed in the Daily Monitor this morning. And so you need to know this, that at the 3 p.m. on Friday, the motorcade returning the remains of Justice Stella Racha Moko sneaked through Nebi town after a 2-week stalemate about her burial site. The Nyaravur Kachiro, clad in regalia, welcomed the motorcade when it was in the main roundabout. They blew the popular Aguara accompanied by dancers with ankle belts as the motorcade went to the White House local government office ground of Nebi. Mourners lined the roads to pay their last respect to the late Justice. Some mourners fainted while others were heard wailing and chanting praises for Justice Amoko, who has been revered as model to the girl child in Westnile sub-region. The local government held a special council session to honor the jurist for her enormous contribution to the country. Preceding the burial on Saturday, her husband had disagreed with her children and siblings on the final resting place. The matters was handled by the High Court Family Division in Kampala last Tuesday. Her husband, Ambassador Induke Amoko, urged that she should be buried in Germany, where she is married, but her children and siblings disagreed. Burying the hatchet, her son Emmanuel Kumakech said, much as there was a court process, we should leave it at that. And this is the time for reconciliation and forgiveness. We thank her husband Amoko for being a loving husband who took care and loved our mother until her death. And so Godfrey Pisho, a brother, said, we want to have peace, respect accorded to both families. We want to ensure that the families in Ajumani and Koboko are safe. The call for harmony and respect was equally echoed by the widower, who is currently Deputy Head of Mission in South Sudan. Ambassador Amoko said, her Lordship and I enjoyed a respectable relationship in marriage, and I will continue to honor my wife for being a loving, devoted, faithful, and a charitable person. I will continue to hold her memory dearly. She had a determination to live a great life in dispensing justice. And so he added, let her wishes be fulfilled, and this should be honored by all the Westnile districts, especially in naming the streets in her name across the districts. Relationships do not die a natural death, but live. And Deputy Chief Justice Richard Butura said the late Justice Aracha Moko will be remembered as a passionate, brilliant, and intelligent judicial officer. She died on June 2017 at Nakasero Hospital in Kampala, age 69. And so the Chief Moon, also the third Deputy Prime Minister, Rukia Nakadama, said the late Justice Aracha Moko was dedicated and served with humility in the legal profession, where she first worked as a state attorney with the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Affairs in 1979 and rose through the ranks to become a Justice of the Supreme Court. In her 44 years of service, she delivered judgments that didn't only resolve conflict but promoted fairness and brought justice to many Ugandans. Nakadama said she added that in an effort to reduce case backlog, the late introduced alternative dispute resolution mechanisms in the commercial court. And so the late Justice Stella Racha Moko must be remembered for building a judicial system that is responsible to the norms and values and aspirations of Ugandans. The State Minister for Northern Uganda, Honorable Kuyoshin Grace Freedom, urged the government to construct a girls' school in Nebi in memory of Justice Aracha Moko. and quoting her saying that it is a great loss to the whole region since she was a God-gifted personality who served the country without a biased mindset and promoted transparency in the judicial system. A school would encourage more girls to study and rise to her level, says Minister Kuyushin. Leaders have unanimously called on the government to construct a high court hall in Nebi as one of the lasting legacies of the late Justice Stella Rashamoko. She was laid to rest at 4 p.m. on Saturday at the Juba Cell ward in Nebi municipality, with hundreds of mourners from various parts of the country in attendance right there for you. And so that's a brief from the burial of the late Justice Stella Arash Oboko, who has got to be with the Lord. May her soul rest in eternal peace. So let's go for a break, and when we come back, we'll be diving into what we have in the New Vision this morning, and at exactly 9. I sign out of the studio. My name is Denis Oringi, and it's KOKOLIRIKO Live. It's a Monday. It's a chilly weather here in Westnile, here in Arua in particular. It really was a heavy downpour, and so it's affected many people, including even me, because it was heavy. And so we continue to pray for God to continue blessing us with rain, as those who are concentrating in agriculture continue to concentrate, because that's where the food comes from for those who are living in town and they live on Pakashire, because they need to get some little money so that at the end of the day they are able to put food on table for their family members. Good morning. Let's go for a break.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region. Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
Get more for less on StarTimes this Easter season. Cartoon channel for best children entertainment. New global series. Local drama on Makula TV and football all around the world. Simply make weekly or monthly subscription and enjoy upgrade to the next bouquet. For classic or super bouquet customers, subscribe for a month and enjoy 5 days extra. Family time with StarTimes. StarTimes is regulated by UCC.
Westnile TV, lighting up the region.
All right, we'll be back, and thank you for being here. You're still watching Westnile Television. 9 to the top of the hour of 9 a.m. right here on Westnile Television. Let's dive into what we have in the New Vision this morning. Security speaks out on UK-Uganda terror alert. Is what you need to know, that security has spoken, and so we need to find out what is the security saying. Terror warning: the UK said the attacks could be indiscriminate or against foreign nationals or places frequented by foreign nationals, is what you need to know. The Defense Ministry has yesterday evening given the assurance that security agencies across the country were on high alert to avert any possible terror threat in Uganda, targeting both local and foreign nationals. Responding to the UK government's warning in its foreign travel advice over the weekend that terrorists are very likely to try to carry out attacks in Uganda, Defense spokesperson Brigadier General Felix Kulaije said the government of Uganda cares for the security of all those within its. Quoting him saying, "We do not have a specific threat. Terrorism is a threat across the world. And as you are aware, the UK itself attacked before. Terrorism has no borders and does not look for color. This country is not governed by the government that cares about the security of its people. The security agents here have been on alert, and that is why we are able to bust terror cells wherever they are," Kulaije said on Sunday, July 2nd, 2023. And according to him, Uganda has not had any major terrorist attack, and this was not because terrorists were kind to it, but it is because they had been deterred by security agencies. People should be vigilant. The security agencies are vigilant, and once we work together, we will defeat every threat to this country like we have done before. Deputy President Press Secretary Farouk Shirunda said the adversary by the UK government to its citizens is noted, but Uganda is not at war, and our security forces are there to ensure safety and security of citizens and our visitors welcome to Uganda. The wording. In its terror warning, the UK said the attacks could be indiscriminate or against foreign nationals or places frequented by foreign nationals. UK said there is a high threat of terrorist attacks globally affecting UK interest and British nationals, including from groups and individuals who view the UK and British nationals as targets, calling upon them to be vigilant at all times. Quoting from the letter written, saying that you should be vigilant at all times, especially in crowded areas and public places like hotels, transport hubs, restaurants and bars, and during major gatherings like sporting or religious events, and within close proximity to, that is, government buildings or security installations such as police stations. A previous terrorist attack and disrupted attacks in Uganda have targeted the security forces, places where football matches were being viewed, restaurant, buses and government buildings. And so the statement also gave the recent terror attacks in Uganda, which included on June 17, 2023, the Uganda police attributed to militants, the Allied Democratic Forces, on an attack on a school in Pondri, Kasese district, western Uganda, close to the border with the Democratic Republic of Congo. 40 people were killed. On November 16, 2021, terrorists used 2 explosive devices in central Kampala, killing 4 and injuring 33 people. 2 further explosive devices were disarmed by the police. And on October 25, 2021, terrorists used an explosive device on a coach traveling on the Kampala to Masaka Road near Mpigi, killing 1 person. On October 23, 2021, terrorists used an explosive device to attack a restaurant in Kamaboga, a suburb in northeast of Kampala, killing 1 person and injuring several others. Police force regularly issues alerts, particularly around public holidays or religious events. You should remain vigilant at all times and follow the advice of the local authorities, the statement said. It further listed the July 2010 bomb attacks in Kampala at venues screening the World Cup final, killing over 70 people and injuring many more. Al-Shabaab claimed the responsibility and linked the attacks to Uganda military presence in Somalia as part of an African Union peacekeeping mission, AMISON, and threatened further attacks in the region. Daesh has claimed responsibility for some of the more recent attacks in Uganda. And so the UK noted that the Ugandan authorities continue to work to reduce the risk of further attacks. There may be additional security threats or security checks, including baggage and car searches in public places, including hotels right there for you. And so this is not only for the UK nationals, this should go out to all human beings. Let us be vigilant. And when you see something that is scary for you, you have to report to the responsible authority so that quick action can be taken against such. And so it calls for collective responsibility. All of us, we have to be vigilant, because when it comes to terror attack, it does not discriminate. It is indiscriminate, as it has been said by the UPDF spokesperson, Felix Klaije, right there. And so that is what you need to know here in our country, Uganda. All right, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni has ordered for probe into Bukedea by-election right there. And you all know what exactly happened during that time, that Bukedea went to poll to choose the LC5 chairperson, and you have to know that the district lost the LC5 chairperson last year, and so the Electoral Commission of the Republic of Uganda was able to organize for a by-election. But what happened in Bukedea, President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is not well with. And so President Museveni ordered a probe into Bukedea by-election fracas. Museveni, in a letter dated June 26, 2023, noted that whereas he was delighted by the ruling national resistance movement's win in the by-election, he was disturbed by the irregularities that marred the exercise. And so the head of the State House Anti-Corruption Unit, Brigadier General Henry Isoke, has been tasked by President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni to investigate alleged electoral violence or violations in the recently concluded Bukedea LC5 by-election. Museveni, in a letter dated June 26, 2023, noted that whereas he was delighted by the ruling National Resistance Movement's win in the by-election, he was disturbed by the irregularities that marred the exercise. And quoting from the letter that he wrote to the head of Anti-Corruption State House, it says, "I have got some disturbing information about the recent by-election in Bukedea for LC5 chairperson, where our NRM candidate won with 91%. And the voter turnout was 87%. I was, of course, happy for my party to perform so well," reads Museveni's letter to Isoke in part. However, I am now getting information that government officials on the night of the nomination invaded the house of Mr. Omagor Stephen David, confiscated his academic papers and stole 63 million from him so that he could not be nominated the following morning. The Electoral Commission had to extend the nomination days when he appealed. Even when he went for nomination, he was attacked at the gate of the Electoral Commission, the president said. Museveni was concerned by the fact that even when voters opted to shun the election exercise on the polling day, government officials invaded the polling stations and voted on behalf of voters. Somebody would say that I'm laughing sarcastically. I am not laughing sarcastically. I am trying to mean something here. He wondered such electoral violence could potentially drag the country back to the political turmoil of the past. And quoting him further, saying that this sounds like a film. However, I want to be sure that Uganda does not go back to the crime of 1980 with the Muhanga elections that forces the NRA to go to the bush. It is against that background that the president, who is also the national chairman of NRM, instructed the socket to thoroughly probe the by-election and make a report as soon as possible. And so therefore, investigation these claims, and if any criminality is committed, take action and report back. Such actions are not only electoral offenses, they are also criminals. I am therefore directing you to handle the criminals. And so this should be the first time the President Yoweri Kaguta Museveni is coming out to condemn the manners in which elections are being organized here in our country, Uganda, more especially the by-elections that we have been having as a country in this country. And so I believe that the head of the anti-corruption state house will be able to do a very good job. And this should not stop only by investigating the Bokedia by-election. Other by-elections that we had in this country should as well be investigated. And this reminds me of what happened in 2018 here in Arua, the municipality then, during the by-election to elect somebody to replace the slain member of parliament, Ibrahim Abiriga, may he shall rest in the eternal peace. Right there. So if the president of the Republic of Uganda has got information in regards to the manners in which elections are organized in this country, then I believe something good will really happen comes the 2026 elections and other by-elections that will come, by the way, before 2026. My name is Denis Oringi, and it's 1 minute past the hour of 9 a.m. Allow me to thank you very much, and I appreciate you for being with me up to this particular time. I do apologize for starting it a little bit late because of some technical and natural catastrophes that could not really make us start early. Right, but I promise that tomorrow we shall start right from 7, as always, here on Westnile Television. I believe with some of the stories that I've been able to bring to your attention, you're able to understand what the country is now. And let's continue to join hands together to see how we can really develop this country together. It is our country. As Denis Oringi, I don't have another country. I don't have any passport for me to leave this country at any time. I take this country at high regard, and I don't joke and I don't mince my words when it comes to issues to do with the development of this country. Let's all of us join our hands together, first to fight corruption, then secondly to see how we can develop the country together. Because it is our country and we don't have a second country. It is our home here, Uganda. And we are proud of our home, Uganda, because we are so hospitable. And that's why we continue to receive the asylum seekers who continue to come into the country. And so why not to be proud of your country, Uganda, and develop the country together by paying taxes that are required of us as we look forward to seeing that the budget for the financial year 2023-2024 is achieved. Have the best of your morning. May the good Lord bless you. Good morning.